I live in a holiday town and the school holidays are right around the corner, and one thing that I have noticed occurring over the last few days, being home, just trying to chill out, take it easy, spending some time in my garden, there have been a lot of people, like unknowns, driving down my street, and I've realised what it is. It's the Airbnbs. The Airbnbs, we've got all the new folks coming in with their boats and their caravans for their little stop off in our little holiday destination town at their Airbnb before they go off to do the camping, out, heading out east if they want to head out that way, or heading back out north if that's the way they're headed. And it's just been relentless all day. There's been like 7 or 8 different groups coming through. And the area that I live in is a bit out of town, so bigger houses, larger blocks of land, perfect for families, So when you tell people to move to the regions, just remember that those regions have been fucked over royally too.
Well, you've probably seen a heap of TikToks similar to this one, with people sitting in their car talking about the rental crisis and how their rent went up dramatically or they got kicked out of their house, yada, yada, yada. The same has happened to me. My rent has gone up dramatically. I've had to move, all these things. I think what's missing in a lot of these TikToks is that nobody is really diagnosing the problem. And the unfortunate fact is that it's an uncomfortable problem. It's a immigration problem. We brought in 105,000 people in just 1 month alone this year, the highest ever. We brought in close to 800,000 in 12 months, which is also the highest ever, one of the highest per capita in the entire world. Intakes of immigration. So when you have a restricted supply of housing, which is what Australia does, you're obviously going to create a rental crisis, and you're going to force families and frontline workers into homelessness, which is sort of teetering on the edge of a failed state status for Australia, which should be a first world country in my opinion. But nevertheless, the obvious solution is to dramatically cut immigration. I would pause immigration for 2 years to let housing and things like infrastructure catch up. We've gone way too far. No matter your thoughts on whether immigration is good or bad for the economy, for the country, whatever, the fact is that we've gone way too far. Labor are trying to keep the GDP afloat. We're teetering on the edge of recession. They're trying to keep the GDP afloat by simply importing more people, which is a really stupid way to do things. Our GDP per capita is actually going backwards, meaning that you are getting poorer in a very real sense, and part of that is because of the rental crisis. So, young people and everybody in general, if you are suffering from the rental crisis, you need to start talking about immigration. And trust me, I know it is the most uncomfortable topic to ever talk about as a young person. It is so deeply unfashionable. But unfortunately, it's necessary that you talk about it. And I'm not saying that you need to go and start voting for One Nation. One Nation are pretty good on it, but let's be honest, they haven't stopped the rental crisis from happening. So I'm not necessarily sure who we should be voting for just yet. But first things first, before we even start voting, you need to talk about it. I'm sorry, but that's where Australia is. It's not racist. It is a policy choice. It's not about the people. It's about the policy. You need to start fighting and advocating for better living standards because you deserve them. This is Australia. We're a first world country. We're not a second world country. We should not be letting rich people, property developers, big business make record profits, which they are, while your living standards get worse, okay? And this isn't blaming migrants, it's blaming politicians and big business for using migration as a way to enrich themselves while impoverishing you. That is my rant. I hope you start talking about immigration. Let's keep pushing. Well, it's official. Australia has just brought in the highest number of migrants ever.
Last few years, house prices, rental prices, even groceries have increased by staggering amounts.
The housing crisis is about to get much, much worse before it gets better.
What you need to do is to come together and welcome migrants.
It's migration that is driving the housing crisis, then why didn't house prices fall?
And the one reason for that is that nobody talks about is immigration.
While people who were born here, Australian citizens, are living on the fucking street.
I've simply had enough with this obsession that Australia is being flooded with migrants.
Guys, we have an immigration crisis, and although I look like an immigrant, I was actually born here. Stopped immigration during the pandemic. Housing shortages fell slightly. We reopened and now shortages are exploding.
Australia's housing crisis, brought to you by skyrocketing immigration, job competition, and rent hikes that make your wallet cry. Who wins? Who suffers? Let's break it down. Subscribe now. We need 1,000 subs before the month ends.
The majority of Australians want a reduction in migration. A new poll has revealed that nearly half of Australians want a drastic cut to the current rates of migration. In the last few years, house prices, rental prices, and even groceries have increased by staggering amounts. And despite all the media and frankly propaganda trying to suggest that migration has played no role in this, Australians have cut through the crap. Australians, as evidenced by this poll, can recognise the link between migration and the general decrease in the quality of our lives. If you're a part of the 70% who oppose sky-high migration, head to the link in my bio and sign the petition.
There are people who pretend that Australia's housing crisis is some unsolvable mystery. Spoiler, it's not. The solution is quite obvious, it's just politically inconvenient. We have record demand, and not because we're suddenly having more kids, but because the government opened the floodgates post-COVID. We stopped immigration during the pandemic. Housing shortages fell slightly. We reopened and now shortages are exploding, past 300,000 homes. Builders can't keep up. Materials are expensive. Our labour force is maxed out, but instead of cutting demand, labour keeps ramping it up. Even the government's own data says it. If we lowered population growth by just 15%, we would have a housing surplus in just 5 years. But what are they doing? The exact opposite. They are accelerating migration and praying that we don't notice the rent going up. You can't solve a housing crisis by importing more people than you can house. This is not a good policy. This is absolute madness. But a partial answer is right there. Cut immigration to what we can realistically build for, and stop sacrificing our living standards for GDP optics.
Guys, we have an immigration crisis, and although I look like an immigrant, I was actually born here. The problem we have right now is that we have population growth at astronomical numbers, record highs, and we're not building enough properties. And if you don't have enough dwelling completions, supply is going to be low. Demand is really high, and that means prices only do one thing, which is go higher. If we see interest rates cut, that's going to include so much more demand, and that's going to cause prices to go much, much higher. It's pretty concerning, and the crisis we're in is something we need to get through. So if you want to stay updated with all the latest news and data and statistics and all the good stuff, then definitely go smash that follow button.
The net overseas migration in the year to June 2023 reached a record-breaking 518,090 people, but accusations of a big Australia aren't exactly true. If you average out the net overseas migration over the past 3 years, you end up with a number lower than the decade preceding the pandemic. We lost 500,000 net migrants from June 2019 to June 2022, and those coming back are simply rebalancing things. Furthermore, fewer migrants are leaving Australia than usual, expected to return to normal in future years. Indeed, Australia's population is still expected to be over 375,000 people below the forecast prior to the COVID pandemic.
I've simply had enough with this obsession that Australia is being flooded with migrants. The stats just don't lie.
Well, it's official. Australia has just brought in the highest number of migrants ever. This is in the middle of a housing crisis, a rental crisis, and a cost of living crisis. Not to mention, wages are at 2008 levels, meaning that we're literally going backwards. We're in a GDP per capita recession, meaning we're actually getting poorer while the country is growing. And rental vacancy rates are at 1%. Just 10 years ago, they were at 6%. 1% is crazy. This is the major reason why life in Australia is getting harder. It's as simple as that. And it's overwhelmingly hurting young people, working class people, and the vulnerable. We seriously need to hit pause on immigration into Australia.
You guys are pissing me off. I'm pissed off. Let's talk about this rental crisis right now, because it's actually a joke. Actually a joke. Every single place that I've gone to, no word of a lie, minimum 30, 40 people. There are couples, there are people with kids. lining up. There's a lot of us. And only to get there, to view the room, to view the apartments, the houses, for them to not be up to par. What are you telling me? The oven doesn't really work properly? You got to switch a couple things like this, like that. I'm so tired of it. And then the prices. You're charging $550 for a fucking box? A box? I saw a house yesterday. I shit you know. On my own life, I'll not even put it on anybody else's life. On my own life, I went to an inspection yesterday. It was a 2-bedroom apartment. They claimed 2-bedroom apartment. First of all, bullshit. I get in there. I swear to God, it was one room that they split in fucking half. I'm not even joking you. It was they like built a rectangular building. It should have been one room, like it should have been a 1-bedroom apartment, but they put a wall in between like one of the spaces and say, fuck it, let's go. And they're charging $550 in a location that's not even anywhere near things that people want. No air conditioning, the stove is a bit mungy, and they said $550. You people are driving me crazy. I'm going to lose my mind. I've lost it. I've actually lost it. PSA to anybody here in Perth. If you have accommodation that is livable, that has actual space, like people can live. I'm a young professional. I work fucking 6 days a week, sorry. How? If you have a place, I'm ready to move in tomorrow. I'm telling you right now, you have a place that's livable, the oven fucking works, you have air conditioning. You don't even need to have air conditioning for real. You just need to have a place that the windows open properly so that air can circulate through the apartment. What do you mean the windows only open this much? For $550? Build a new window. You have a place, $300 rent a week. I'm telling you right now, I'm moving tomorrow. A granny flat, $300 a week. I'll move in tomorrow. $350 in 6 months time. I've got 4 weeks worth of rent and I got 4 weeks for bond and 2 weeks for fucking advance payment. I'll pay that shit tomorrow. You have that? Come to me with a real fucking deal. Otherwise, don't come to me at all. I'm about to start beating motherfuckers. And these landlords look at you crazy and they're showing you this place like, this is such a deal. Like, the real estate agents like, this is such a steal. The light is not even turning on. You didn't even do the decency of making sure that the fucking light bulbs in the house are fitted properly. And then you think, okay, just do a share house. Like, we gotta do the share house thing. You live with grotty people. Oh my God. I saw a place. She's like, oh, it's a share. Like, it's not even a share house. It was 2 people. So I come through, pull up, have a look at the place. I saw the room, first of all, again, a box. But I'm like, you know what? At this point, I can't be too picky. Maybe I just need to get rid of some shit. This person, dirty. The kitchen, you know, the back of the stove, there's oil splatters. You didn't even do the decency to hide, to like make the place look decent. Like, why are you guys so dirty? Share houses are the devil, first of all. But now, trying to find a place, and these landlords and rental fucking people are I'm not even joking you. I saw a 1-bedroom apartment, $500. Is there air conditioning in that house? No. Does the window open properly? No. There's not even parking. They don't even give you a parking spot. Where am I supposed to put my car? And then you make the fucking inspections like unattainable, because right now I had to stop my day in the middle of my work day and ask for a 3-hour period so I could go view homes, because you people are putting them in the middle of the day, but you're asking for people who have full-time jobs. What do you think happens in a full-time job? Like, what hours are full-time job hours? Are you crazy? I'm sorry for yelling. I'm just really like, y'all got me vexed. I'm pissed. Oh my God. Anyways, you have a property, $300, $350. I'll move in tomorrow. I got 4 weeks worth of rent and 2 weeks advance. I got the bond and advance. I'll move in tomorrow. Anyways, fuck.
How is the rent? That is cost. So hello everyone, my name is Deo. I am a registered nurse. I currently live and practice here in Australia, and I'm just sharing my bits and bobs to help people and just share information generally to people who are looking to move to Australia or just want to know a bit about Australia anyways. Okay, so the rent when it comes to cost depends on loads of factors, as you can already tell. Expensive cities will have expensive rents, as expected. Like cities like Sydney, rent here is more expensive, and if you go down to low cost area, the rents there will be cheap. So I'll give you a range because it depends on the exact location. So even in cities like Sydney here, if you are close to the CBD, it is more expensive. If you're outside the CBD area, it's a little bit affordable. So outside the CBD area in Sydney, you can get apartments. Like you can get apartment for like 450, 500 for 1 bedroom, and if you're lucky, you can get 2 bedroom for like 600. Okay, if you go down further, you can get a house. You can get a house for like 3 to 4 bedroom for like 700 per week. At least I forget. The rent here is paid per week and not per month like other countries. I don't know if there are other countries that pay per week, but yeah, in Australia here, the rent cost is per week, and most landlords would allow you pay bi-weekly. That is every 2 weeks or every month, but usually it's weekly or every 2 weeks. Okay, but don't also forget that the size of the house matters. The amenities in the house, is it new build, is it old build? All these things will affect the cost of a house. Okay, so that's why it's very hard to tell you how much rent costs here, because you might see old buildings go for lesser cost, but a new building will be more expensive. So it's just loads of factors to determine. But yeah, that's it for the rental cost. But like I said, it depends on the city where you are. Cheaper areas, like I don't even know which cheap area to call, but there are cheaper area that will be cheaper than this. But this is like Sydney, which is the most expensive city in Australia. So this is the cost for the most expensive city, so that means you get it cheaper in other parts of Australia. I hope this helps. Okay, and if you are watching me and you're in Australia, please let me know what's the range for apartments or houses in your area, so we can all learn together. Sites like Domain will show you a rough estimate of how much house rent costs in where you're going to be going finally. Okay, I hope this helps.
It's so heartbreaking to see comments like this one here, but I can totally understand why people would want to leave Australia right now. So many Australians are really struggling with the cost of living crisis, and it's breaking so many people. So many people are having to choose between filling up their car with fuel, eating food, paying school fees, paying rent. And it's so heartbreaking that people are having to make these decisions. I was watching Question Time in the Senate the other day, and one particular senator wanted to make the point very clear that the Labor government have done their bit in regards to the cost of living crisis and helping those Australians who are struggling. I quite honestly don't think that the government have done their bit in helping those who are struggling. Over $450 million was spent on the referendum, and I feel that a lot of that money could have gone to helping relieve the struggles that so many Australians are currently facing. Same senator who made the comment in regards to the cost of living relief and the Labor government having done their bit also went on to say that he's done a huge thing to help all Australians who are struggling with the cost of living, and that was asking supermarkets to freeze the price of Christmas ham. Yes, that's great, but is he being serious? Like, does he think that freezing the cost of ham is going to help in the broad picture? I don't know. I think there are many other things that would help. I don't know if freezing the prices of ham is one of them majorly, but... And then again, the farmers who produce pigs for a living are probably going to struggle. If the prices for ham go down in the supermarkets, the prices for their pigs are going down as well. So this will affect the pig farmers and the industry as a whole. I know firsthand that pig farmers are not getting very much for their pigs at the sale yards at the moment, which is heartbreaking to see. It's almost not even worth being in the pig industry at the moment. So if we want to encourage farmers to keep doing what they do and keep doing what they know how to do best, a lot of them aren't going to want to if it's not worth it financially. Like, a lot of farmers are selling out and going out of business because they're not getting money for their produce, and so why would they run at a loss? So yes, whilst asking supermarkets to freeze the price of a Christmas ham sounds really good, I just don't think that it's really going to make a huge difference. There are many other things that I think would help Australians if the prices were all frozen. That would be great, but not just Christmas ham. These are just my opinions though. That's okay if you don't agree. That's just my thoughts.
Okay, so cost of living in Australia is very high, depending on which country you're from. I'm from South Africa, so there's a huge gap between the rands and the Australian dollar. However, what's important is that you do not compare. You are living in a different country, in a foreign country, therefore you need to adjust to the way of living here. The nice thing is the salaries in Australia are compatible with the lifestyle of living in Australia, especially if you negotiate things beforehand. So let's get into groceries. This one was a hard one for me because I am catering to myself, and people live with other people. You come in with kids, you come in with partners. Things are definitely different. So for my groceries, I genuinely try to stay between 80 and 100, but that also depends on each week, because I do my groceries weekly now because I pay rent weekly. That's Australia for you. You can buy stuff monthly if that works out for you, but I try to keep it like 50 and 80 to be honest per week, but sometimes I do go up to $100 a week, which is like extreme. Because I've also moved into my new apartment, I've had to get more stuff that I had in the old place where I was sharing. However, if you are going to accept a job in Australia or are considering relocating to Australia, I suggest when it comes to groceries, go on woolworths.com.au. Go on Coles, go on Aldi. Put in your cart things that you normally use every single month. You know that you're gonna need dishwashing liquid. You know you're gonna need deodorant. You know what you eat. Put those things in the cart and actually compare based on your salary or whatever offer you're getting, and look at how much you actually spend on groceries per month, and that will really help you. And that is a tip Sandy, my housemate, also South African, did and gave me that I wish I had done. So I hope that is helpful.
So I just came home from shopping, and as we all know, the cost of living in Australia is a little bit ridiculous at the moment. I'm going to put up here somewhere how much I spent on where and the grand total of it all. I've done one of these before, and you'll see that like most of the things that I buy are always on sale or home brand, and today's not really much different. I did splurge on like a couple of little things, and I'll tell you why. Also, I look like crap. It's the 26th of January today. It's our public holiday, so I'm not at work. I had no intention of going to the shops, but look, I just did something with my day, so. The $42 at Kmart was spent on 3 bags of crystal kitty litter and a cheap $12 diffuser and some nighttime oil to put into my diffuser, like vaporizer thing, okay? Pretty decent like that. Alrighty, the $30 Aldi haul, 8 of these Flying Power energy drinks, these goat's cheese balls because they're just amazing, and look, for $4 I'm allowed a little treat, and this was me treating myself. And then I bought myself these 2 frozen meals, spag bowl and a beef ragu, and another little, sorry about that, wine. I bought myself some wine. It's really hot, and if I want a glass and it helps me sleep, fuck you or fuck all. Right, Woolworths haul, which was almost $60, 6-pack of Up and Go. Some shampoo and conditioner. This isn't the one I usually use. I use expensive one, but I'm just currently mixing and diluting because I'm being a cheapskate. Some eggs that I managed to get that were only $8 and not broken. These water bottles were half price, and my metal ones usually just go all rusty eventually, like after years, and this is plastic at the top, which is amazing. Cat food and a little treat for Tish because I love her. Some Parmesan cheese because sometimes it takes me forever to go through, but I like to have it. feminine care product because we need those. Pizza and Stinky Girl spray stuff, so basic. And the girls shop, some Monster energy drinks, they were half price. These tuna tins, 4 of those. Men's razors because the women's ones were not on sale, and it's summer, I have to shave my legs and stuff, okay? I don't have a choice. Bin bags, you gotta have those. I was really craving some juice. I barely ever drink juice. It was on sale, it was $2. This was a splurge. It was not on special. It is oat yogurt. This was on special and I needed to have it. It's tips for my toothbrushes and then 10 of these. Oh, and I actually bought myself 4 mascaras for $7 because they're back in stock. The Essence mascaras are back in stock. That's it.
So I've just done a shop at Coles and I'm waiting on someone. And I'm covering my hair because it's bad. And I've been working out and then I went to the sauna. So, that car had its lights on me and it was good lighting. Now it's bad lighting. Turn your lights back on, you inconsiderate. Anyway, I did this shop and it's been a stressful day for me. And I had to swing by the shops to get a couple of groceries. And it was a $90 shop. And I got one bag, and it's not even a full bag. And I'm trying to look at it and go, where's the $90? And it's just a small shop. Like, there's a couple ingredients, there's cat food, that's it. Like, there's nothing exciting, and there's no, hair products or a couple of veggies, couple of fruit, one piece of steak, which is a cheap steak. It's like $8. And that was the tiniest bit. The steaks have security tags on them now. I didn't get the one with the security tag, but anyway, my thing is cost of living is bad at the moment, right? And everyone must be feeling it. And when I'm 37 and, back in the day, I reckon, the sad part about it is I earned more money back probably 10 years ago. So that kind of says a lot about my life. But yeah, I don't know how people are affording life. I used to go out on the weekends and have thank you, car. Beautiful lighting. I used to have bender weekends, right? Where I'd go out clubbing and you know what a bender weekend is. And I would spend a lot of money. But I could. And I could go on all these holidays. I would always go on a holiday. I'd go to Bali or Thailand or America. And I could afford that. And it was great. But I don't know how everyone's affording anything. It's crazy. And it's giving me real bad anxiety. And I don't even have kids. Thank God. Because I couldn't afford them. And it's hard enough looking after my 2 dogs with their vet bills and food. And one of the dogs has a skin condition, so she's kind of better than me, the little Frenchie. But anyway, it's crazy. Life is crazy. I'm glad I don't have much of a social life anymore, and I don't have a girlfriend that's bleeding me dry. So that's nice. That's the benefit, I guess, of being single. But yeah, I don't know if anyone else is struggling out there. We've got to avoid these corporate greed. Don't go to Coles or Woolies. Aldi, maybe.
So I wrote this the other day. The rental crisis in Australia is absolutely fucked at the moment. My partner and I found out right before Christmas on the 18th of December that they were selling our place and that we might have to move. So we made the decision to look for places, and rather than wait, because we don't know who's going to buy the place, whether they're going to want to live there and rent it out to us. And then if that was the case, we'd only have 30 days. And then in this current rental crisis, that is not very long. This piece didn't come from that. It came from other footage showing queues going miles down the street for rental properties in Melbourne. But that is also the case in Sydney. My partner and I attending rentals, and people I know who have been attending rental inspections. It's just insane. 50 people at least viewing one place. In some parts of the country, particularly in places like Perth and South Australia, vacancy rates are so low, they're below 1%, and they have been for a very long time. It's very concerning. But in other parts of the country, like in Melbourne and Sydney, there are a few more vacancies popping up after the holidays and people are coming back to real life again and going back to work and whatnot. We were fortunate enough to be approved for a place. We're moving on Friday, but far out, mate. It is a bloody nightmare out there.